This is Rick Renner, and today I want to speak to you from Luke chapter 17, verse 1. And I'm going to continue on this for several days. Jesus said to the disciples, "It is impossible." Now listen to that word impossible. It's impossible, but that offenses will come. But woe unto him through whom they come. What is an offense? Have you ever been offended? Have you ever been the source of offense for someone else? Well, the word offense is the Greek word scandalon, and it has several different ideas. For instance, it can be used to describe a little trap that has a stick under it, and the animal comes under the trap and hits the little stick. The stick falls and it catches the animal. It really means to be entrapped. An offense is something that entraps you, usually emotionally. But the word scandalon, the word offense, can also mean to stumble or to trip. And I really think that's the best. Because when people get offended, they stumble over something. They see something that disappoints them, and it causes them to trip in their faith, or to trip or to fall in their belief in someone else or their expectation in someone else. And if you think about your own life, the times that you have been offended, you've been offended mainly for two reasons. Number one, because someone did something that you would have never expected them to do, and it offended you. It caused you to trip in your faith, to trip in your soul. Or, number two, they didn't do something you expect them to do. This happens in churches all the time. People who have an expectation of their pastor to come see them in the hospital. Or people have an expectation of a friend, and the friend doesn't completely fulfill that expectation, and it causes them to trip, to stumble, and ultimately to accuse that person. Well, you weren't a good friend. Well, you weren't a good pastor. Well, you. I can't believe you did this, or I can't believe you didn't do this. Two things: what people do or what people fail to do. This is what people trip over the most easily. And if you look at your own life, it's good for you to remember that you have been a source of offense to someone else. When we're tempted to think about those that have offended us, we're forgetting we've probably done the same thing to somebody else. We probably have failed someone else's expectation, or we have all done something somewhere along the way that disappointed someone else, and it became a source of offense. And Jesus said, "It is impossible, but that offenses will come," which means as long as we're in this world, this is reality we're going to have to deal with. And one thing that has really helped me personally is when I am tempted to be offended because of what someone has done or because of what someone has failed to do, it has really helped me just to stop and say, "Hey, Rick, haven't you also done this to someone else in the past? Haven't you been forgiven? Hasn't the grace of God and His mercy forgiven you and restored those relationships? Rick, did you ever intend to be a source of offense?" No. Nobody intends to be a source of offense. And those who have offended you, they don't want to be offensive to you. They didn't want to let you down. They didn't want to do what was wrong. In fact, they're probably embarrassed. And so when offenses come, and Jesus says they will come, always make sure you get a grip on yourself, because if offense gets in your heart, it's not going to help the situation. It's going to make you worse. So I hope this is something for you to think about today, and tomorrow we're going to pick up right here.